DJ LeRoy.
NightWatchman, how you doing, buddy?
I'm well. How are you?
Good, good. So, NightWatchman, it's June, so yes, of course, it'll be my birthday. We know that.
There's a lot going on in June. June is packed. You know,
Exactly.
you got Knicks in the finals, and you have all the Gemini birthdays. Happy birthday, DJ
Thank you.
LeRoy.
Thank you.
We have Juneteenth, of course. You know, that has to happen in June based on the name, and we have Pride, of course.
Yes,
Is what
yes.
we're here to talk about today.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. And funny enough, NightWatchman, these are a number of returning guests. Is that true?
That's true.
Oh my God! So, I mean, I see him everywhere. I see him promoting this. I see him promoting that. It can only be Uncle Richard. Yeah. What's up, buddy? How you doing, man?
Good. I'm good. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right. So, NightWatchman, I think also on deck is somebody I consider really a historian. It can only be John T. Tiberius. Yeah, Riddick. Bring him up. Come on.
Hi guys. Well, it's good to be back.
Absolutely, man. How you doing? Good.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
All right.
Another Gemini birthday, by the way. But
Gemini
birthday.
Yep.
Oh, I did not know this. What is yours, by the way?
June 20th.
Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. So now, what about a NightWatchman? An experienced restaurateur. Okay. Adrian Ferguson. Yay!
Welcome back.
Good morning, everyone.
How you doing?
I'm great. I'm great.
All right. Absolutely, absolutely. And NightWatchman, you know why Adrian's back? Because in her restaurants, she with potato salad, she does not put raisins in them. You know that.
No, not at all.
Thank you.
And that's why she's been around so long.
Yes, indeed.
Well, one of the reasons. Yeah.
Mhm. So, last but certainly not least, of course, can we say, of course, Harlem Pride in the house?
Carmen Neely is here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. How you doing there?
I am doing well. We are busy. It's June and happy Pride.
Absolutely,
Happy
absolutely.
Pride.
And also, I got to give some props. The piece in the back, I love the piece that you have in the back there.
Thank you. That's a Haitian artist by the name of Remark, and that's also made by Colored Coffee Grinds. So it's
Wow.
my cherished pieces. I like it in the background.
Beautiful, beautiful, very nice, very nice.
Thank you.
NightWatchman, can I break from some tradition?
No.
then having heard him, Richard, you're up. So in this month of June, Pride Month, I want to know what significance is it to the Black and Brown communities? Please start off and tell us, man. Go ahead.
That's for me. Well, first, I want to say thank you very much for the opportunity. As you mentioned, my name is Richard E. Pelzer II. Of Harlem CLX here in Harlem, which stands for Create, Learn, and Experience. So we ask people to come to Harlem to create, to learn, to experience. And if you live here, we want you to create, learn, and experience. And I think with the opportunity, especially during Pride, gives you the opportunity to be yourself. Sometimes it's very difficult and hard, but I realize that community is really key and important. So I say community is our superpower, and when we get together, we can be unstoppable. So the opportunity of finding communities sometimes is hard, but here in Harlem, it thrives, and I'm really excited, and I really appreciate all of the panelists and the folks that are on the call today.
Beautiful. Thank you for that, Richard. John, you heard the question, so do tell me what's the importance of Pride to Black and Brown communities, and why have you become involved?
Well, in particular, if you look at the history of Harlem, it's so significant in that period. Not only was it the sort of renaissance for the Black culture in total, but there were a lot of LGBT players in that movement. If you think back to people like Gladys Bentley or Langston Hughes, James Baldwin. And for me, it's trying to connect that history, to bring that energy. Like we talked about these people and the places they hung out, there was a certain kind of energy there that makes us remember or want to honor those activities. And I think, like, whether you're talking about Adrian's restaurant or the Pride and on 12th Avenue or whatever, these are going to be memories for the next generation to talk about. And so trying to make sure that the energy is always in Harlem, even as we reflect on history, that the contemporary life has a certain capacity to carry forward a history as well.
Thank you for that. And certainly, Adrian, as a restaurateur, right, has, let's say, because I did hear from Richard, sometimes not necessarily feeling inviting environment. Has your restaurant always, or your restaurants always been a welcoming environment for the LGBTQ community?
Oh, yes. Originally, when I first opened, the entire concept was having a safe space for everyone. And I opened literally Pride of 2006.
Wow.
In all of the iterations of the restaurant, from Billy's Black to B to Brunch Harlem, and now the Nephew, it really speaks to community and having everyone feel safe, having a place where, you know, you can call home. Basically, there are a lot of people who are transplants to New York, Harlem, if you will, who are looking for community and looking for places that they can be themselves. So, you know, that's always been the goal.
Beautiful, beautiful. And of course, Carmen, why Harlem Pride? Why? Tell me.
For us, about us, and by us. No one can celebrate our culture the way we can, and we bring a particular uniqueness to the way we celebrate. Our event feels like a family reunion. You can bring your young children, you can bring your grandparents. There's something for everyone, and entertainment that will be pleasing to the ears and the eyes, but not displeasing to your sensibilities. So, you know, I think that's the way we do it. It's a little different from others. And we bring that style and flair that is just Harlem to our event. And that's definitely what makes us different. And what is so important about having Black and Brown Pride celebrations, as well as John mentioned, we're here in Harlem with the sort of new Renaissance, harking back to the original Harlem Renaissance, where so many of those key persons were LGBTQ. So it's continuing that legacy. And so we are proud to build upon that, proud to celebrate who we are, proud to celebrate loving and living in Harlem. And it's all wrapped up into one. And that's why we say happy Pride, happy Harlem Pride. It's a different flair, a different feel.
Excellent, excellent. And certainly, Richard, I did hear your comment that I would ask you, when have you not necessarily felt safe in a community like Harlem? Or are there other parts of New York City where, you know what, still there's a little bit of tension, a little bit of uneasiness?
Well, I mean, I think that the way that I would answer that is having something like Harlem Pride and creating these spaces, because if we don't create them, who will, right? And I think it's very important for us to be very intentional. And that's one of the reasons that I really got into community engagement and promotion, is because there's so many amazing talent, it's so many amazing places to be able to actually go. And a lot of folks don't really know. And it really is an opportunity to keep the community aware. So to answer your question, I think that not only in New York, there's a lot of places that you don't feel welcome and or safe. But the idea for us is to be able to actually come together. I have a hashtag called, attend with us. I mean, you can go anytime, but we want you on this particular day at this particular time with us. It hits and feels different. So the idea, again, is and the power of community, I think, is really key and important.
Beautiful. And I would say, and Richard, I also have to give you major props, because if there's an event, it seems like a multitude of events, you are behind it in terms of getting out the word, getting out so many things. I mean, from of course the Harlem Fine Art Show to others. I mean, is there any time that you've taken pause and said, maybe they don't necessarily need my assistance, or maybe they do, and I believe in what they're trying to do here?
Yeah, I had the opportunity to actually work with the Broadway League before the pandemic and after the pandemic, and it was really eye-opening because there are folks that just think that, well, everybody's welcome, right? And that's not always the case. I don't think that everybody feels welcome. I think that we have to be intentional about that, and making sure that there's somebody in the room that's talking about folks that normally aren't in the room or, aren't there. So I would like to say that I would like to think that I'm one of those people that when I'm in the room, I'm really thinking about everyone, and especially my community.
Beautiful, beautiful. And certainly, John, when we talk about the Renaissance before, I mean, the key players, we certainly do know. Now, and I heard someone mention a second Renaissance. Will there be key players from the LGBTQ community, or will it be a different set coming up to actually push that forward?
Well, I mean, to Richard's point, if you look back to there's things to learn from the Harlem Renaissance, in that a lot of these clubs, when it got the downtown population started feeling it was unsafe, the Cotton Club moved downtown. A lot of these other places, the resource management wasn't us. We were the performers or whatever, but we weren't actually the people that ran the clubs and the spaces. And I think as we look forward to try to figure out how we navigate the resource, and so that it stays in our community, and the things that we're talking about that are unique have the resources to continue that, presenting that uniqueness and a sense of welcome. I think you look at all the tourists that come to our churches, our most sacred spaces, and yet they still feel trepidation about navigating other parts of the community and that. So I just feel like a lot of it is also still trying to capture that financial resource, and where we're in the room trying to figure out how to navigate for all the different groups. We have limited resources in Harlem, and the Pride agenda is part of it. It's also part of that Pride agenda and the extended family. The way Carmen was talking about an event that's like open to all generational participation, and that, because part of it's fun, but part of it's also a sense of education and building community.
Nice, right. And certainly, Adrian, one of the roughest environments of businesses, we certainly know restaurants. Come on now. So we certainly know the hit that was taken during COVID. That's one. But then also, I understand with Frederick Douglass Boulevard, there are no open streets. How are you surviving? Are you doing okay?
It's tough. It's tough. Hold on. Okay, my mic is on. It gave me a message. It is tough. But just like the pioneers from before, you really have to push through. Like they say, when there's a fire, don't panic. And it's very much true. So you have slow days, and then you have days where you get to watch the Knicks do their thing. Yeah, you just kind of have to persevere and keep going. That is the key. That is the ticket. And push through. Thus, like I said, us celebrating 20 years on June 23rd is
congrats.
A testament to tenacity. Yes,
absolutely.
Can you tell us a little bit about the Nephew, your latest iteration?
The latest iteration of the restaurant is kind of a bridge between soul food and, if you will, New Orleans style Creole food. A lot of the spices and things that we use, along with techniques, kind of bring a different element to what would be known as soul food. So we do things like etouffee. We have escargot on the menu. Just really being able to introduce new things to people who might not otherwise try or experiment. Um, One of our biggest sellers on the menu is cornbread and caviar.
Ooh, okay.
Which surprisingly is a big take, and people are like, I don't know, but the joy and the purpose is for people to let down their barriers and be safe. So we've had quite a few people who would never dream of trying that, and being able to, like I said, introduce them to new things in a safe space. And yeah, we're just pushing through.
Beautiful.
Adrian, how do you decide when it's time for you to evolve your space? Because you've done it several times over the years.
I know. I've rebranded 4 times. I gotta listen to God when He says to move. I contribute that to the climate when things shift. You have to be able to know when to move. So yeah, it's been a journey that for myself has been amazing, if you will. Conceptually, I literally just kind of take some time and think about what is new, what is needed, what is not relevant in the community, and then I create. Just like Richard, it's like creativity is the spice of life.
Wow.
And that's what we need. Yeah.
Beautiful. And Carmen, certainly we had heard from former Mayor David Dinkins that New York City, the great mosaic, right, doesn't say that we're all equal at all. So having said this particular mosaic, what would you say are the key things or issues that really confront the Black and brown community that's separate from the whole?
Definitely right now in this political climate, our trans siblings are being attacked left and right. That might be a little more universal than just Black and brown, but with all other issues, Black and brown feel it most. Wow. So I'd say that's the top. Then we still have the issues of housing, employment, education, healthcare, healthcare being a large one. And again, specifically our trans siblings having issues with gender affirming care and things of that nature. Generally speaking, HIV medicines have been cut, programs are being cut. We also see it as well with WIC and SNAP programs being cut, and they're calling it entitlements. Well, we all know we pay taxes. So it's a very interesting time for our community, but we have resilience and we will get through this as we have gotten through many challenges in the past. So I think coming out in June is just celebrating and finding unity and gathering to really just get back to the core of love and joy and peace and purpose.
Absolutely. And NightWatchman, certainly we do recall some of the early iterations in terms of what was happening on the forefront as related to the rights, the affirming rights. But Carmen, you said something too in terms of, I know you were an educator.
Yes.
Right? So what was the environment like? Had you already come out when you were still teaching, or what did you come out after that? And tell me why you made that decision.
Well, it was a phase for me, actually. I started teaching. Well, first of all, let's give some context. I came out period at 27. Okay. Yes. Gotcha. So late by today's standards, but on par for my generation. I know I might look 18, but I'm actually in my mid 50s now. So
wow.
We're talking late 90s or so. So I started teaching at 30. So just 3 years later, having changed careers. And initially, I didn't feel comfortable with middle school students knowing. And, so it changed with the level I taught. Once I taught high school, I didn't have a problem knowing. Now my principal, the other teachers knew, but when it came to the students knowing and parents knowing, I honestly didn't feel comfortable. You may hear sometimes students make homophobic or transphobic remarks, and you don't know if that came from home or if they're just saying something they heard among their peers. So basically, I minded my business and kept it to myself. But I was out with family, friends, outside of the workplace, sort of thing. Then I happened to be seen by some of my students with some of my Pride activities, and they were out enjoying Pride and saw that I was out enjoying Pride. And I thought, how empowering is it to allow myself to be more visible for these youth? So after that, I decided to allow myself to be more visible. And what ended up happening is New York City has a program called Respect for All. And it's within the schools, and it's to help LGBTQ students navigate issues and concerns. So once anything popped up, students would come to me directly without knowing I was part of the Respect for All program within the school. And so I became another safe haven, which was really great, and I appreciated that. So for me, it was a sort of a process, but ultimately there is value in visibility. And how much more visible can you get than to be president and CEO of Harlem Pride or a similar organization? So I figured I might as well own that.
Yes.
And then in doing so, it empowered me. It gave me a level of freedom that I enjoy and absolute authenticity in living my truth. And I feel like that draws youth. And I have conversations with youth often where they just come up to me impromptu at an event or something, and they just want to talk about the things they're going through. So it was a process, though. It doesn't come easy in this society, and we've come a long way, but there's a long way to go as well.
Beautiful. Thank you for that, Carmen. And Night Watchman, we've been joined by someone.
That's correct.
All right. Let's see who's that on deck. Hey, John Martin Green. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty well. How's about you?
Good. Welcome to Soul Lounge. And
thank you.
So now, of course, we are in the, almost the middle of Pride Month, and I guess the initial conversation was the importance of Pride to Black and Brown communities. And what do you think it is? And how did you first get involved in Pride? And first of all, I'm sorry, John. Also, who are you? Tell us who you are, sir.
I am John Martin Green. I am a theater producer and director and health educator. I am artistic director of Blackberry Productions documentary theater company. I am the founder and executive director of the Gatekeepers Collective, which is community capacity development organization of same gender loving, queer, gay, bisexual, and gender expansive male identifying African descended folk. And I teach community health at Hostos Community College, which is a junior college in the city.
In the BX, baby. That's right. All right. Thank you for that. And so the importance of Pride to Black and Brown?
The importance to Pride for Black and Brown folk. Well, for me, the idea of Pride came from Black folk. It was in claiming and repurposing Black identity as a seat of strength, as distinct from a vile epithet, which we had long regarded it as back in the mid-'60s, that authorized, licensed, empowered other communities to take up the notion of pride.
Okay.
including the women's movement, the women's lib movement, the gay liberation movement, and others. So for me today, it's a very complex issue or set of issues, as the reason that pride, being proud of our sexualities, and recognizing that sexuality exists on a spectrum, you know, from hetero on one end to homo on the other, and several places in between. For African American people in particular, has to do with the fact that until very recently, we didn't own our own bodies. Okay, when I was born, there was still several people alive who at birth had occupied the identity of slave. So, you know, while we might like to think that slavery was ancient history, it is not. It was fairly recent. It was just a few generations ago. And as we didn't own our own bodies, African American men did not observe the privilege of what we call manhood, because we couldn't be protectors and observe those values that are assigned across cultures to manhood. And so for us, for African Americans in particular, and brown people, Latina people as well, manhood is a very precious and delicate commodity, even yet, which is why, you know, hypermasculinity, it can be an issue for us even yet. But in my own experience, rather like Carmen was sharing, I had to unlearn myths and misinformation about what constitutes manhood. In order to, because for the first half of my life, I believed I was cursed because of my homosexuality. And, you know, through processes like therapy and then beyond testing positive for HIV back in the early 90s when it was still an automatic death sentence, I gave up on my vision of attempting to be what I perceived as normal at that time, and sought out my community in organizations like Gay Men of African Descent and Adodi. And in finding community and in doing processes like therapy, again, I began to unlearn myths and misinformation about my sexuality, and began to slowly accept, then embrace, and ultimately celebrate my sexuality as a profound gift, as distinct from a curse.
Well, John, welcome.
Thank you.
and one of the things now, I think when I was first speaking to you, Richard, you told me about John Key. Okay, so tell me about the activation that you attended, and I missed. So John, Richard, do tell me his significance and what's going on with that activation.
So real quick, and I'm going to pass it to Dr. John Martin Green.
Okay.
The Gatekeepers Collective. I was also one of the founding members, which I was very excited about. So that was many moons ago. Okay. We had the opportunity to do something unique and different. The call was, what can we actually do to reach the community as a whole? And at the time, I had the pleasure of working with Ms. Barbara Askins on 105th Street as the president of the Business Improvement District. And we were talking about these amazing banners. And I said, oh, I would love to do these banners. And she was just like, well, I have Central Harlem, Richard, go west. And she was the one that suggested that we create something and passed Morningside all the way to 12th Avenue for the past 8 years. And this is our 5th iteration. We tapped the very creative and talented John Key, who is an amazing graphic designer and artist in his own right. And I will pass it on to Martin Green, as they did an amazing job this past Sunday. So hopefully everybody gets a chance to come and see it.
Tell us about that, Dr. John.
Richard, as ever, is humble, very humble. Richard is the father. I might be the mother. We parented this initiative that we call Harlem Renaissance 2.0, which we launched back in 2019. It's a celebration of the centennial of the Harlem Renaissance and some of the same gender-loving sheroes and heroes who pioneered it. So early, which again, as Richard shares with us, was designed by our brilliant visual artist and board member, John Key. But they are larger than life-size banners, masks with images of the likes of, early on it was Ma Rainey and Langston Hughes and Gladys Bentley. The latest iteration, which is the 5th iteration, which we unveiled on Sunday, includes Alvin Ailey, Ellis Hazlett, Octavia Butler, Holly Murray, and they are images of these icons who are members of the successor generation of the heroes and heroes who pioneered the Harlem Renaissance, to remind us of who we are. And it's a public art, community engagement, anti-stigma, and education campaign.
Beautiful. And I'm just wondering, I'm curious, is there going to be a book?
There should be.
Okay.
And we'll credit you when we
NightWatchman, yes, I do love my 15 minutes of fame. Okay, fine. John, any comments on the activation? Because we were just talking about the Renaissance.
Well, they're very effective. To speak to the graphic quality, they're really unique in terms of how the profiles are created. They're scattered throughout the corridor of 125th Street. And I think each year they add, some people everyone knows, and then other people didn't know about. So I do think it serves as a real educational tool in terms of navigating the community. As it goes forward, I think it'd be actually great to sort of get it on the street where, say, Langston Hughes had his house, or some of the other places, as people navigate through the broader stretch of the community, this visibility pops up as well. It's become a real signature in terms of putting forth history of individuals. Very distinctive.
Beautiful. NightWatchman, sometimes you come at me if I don't step back and defer. Well, you have any questions, man?
Well, I want to go back and ask Carmen to tell us a little bit about the beginning of Harlem Pride. And I know we talked about it the last time you were on the show, but I'm assuming that there are people who didn't watch that episode. You can still find it on
who's that?
You can still find it on YouTube, but I want us to just kind of go over that because I think that story is really important to you. Hold on. We'll get you there.
There you go.
Yeah, hold on.
You got it?
Yes.
All right. Go ahead, Carmen.
Yes, thank you for that question. I love to tell this story. But the beginning is so sort of not random, but where we are is not where we thought we were going. We thought we were going to have a one-time event. So way back many, many, many years ago, I used to work with a nonprofit that I started called Crucial Arts, and Crucial Arts did film screenings. And so eventually we moved to a brownstone on West 119th between Lenox and 5th. and we were doing screenings there at the Casa Fria Art Gallery.
Yes,
And the
nice.
owner of the art gallery's name is Lawrence Rodriguez.
Mm-hmm.
And Lawrence and I just began to work together as we found out we were both queer community members here in Harlem. And he had an annual Pride art exhibit that he would put on each year, it's annual. And we were trying to figure out how to market it.
Mm.
And it's interesting because the story includes several members that are on this call. So as we began to decide to market it, we were trying to figure out how, because this particular exhibit was full of erotica, you know, homo erotica, and we didn't think his typical wine and cheese audience would appreciate it. And it was drawn in sort of a cartoon type style with huge phallics, you know, like a person might be 2 inches, but the phallic was a foot long. And so we were just kind of figuring out who would appreciate this. You know, it's an acquired taste perhaps. So we decided we would try to throw a house party in his brownstone. And in the meantime, I do a little graphic art design. I designed the original logo for Harlem Pride. And my girlfriend at the time was having some shirts done for another project. So I asked her to make some t-shirts for me. And I started wearing the t-shirt at none other than Billy's Black, which had a portrait night. And so people would see the t-shirt and see the logo and see Harlem Pride and say, hey, is there going to be a Harlem Pride event this year? And I'm like, yeah, why not? So I'll go back to Lawrence and I say to him, I said, you know, people are asking me if we're going to do a Harlem Pride event. And at this point, we were just thinking of some kind of a party to promote the art exhibit. And so he said, well, why not? Let's see if we can expand this. And I said, well, are there any other like Pride events that happen in Harlem annually? And he didn't know of any. I had only been in Harlem, I think, a year and a half, 2 years at this point. And I asked around to people I knew, and no one knew of any actual annual official event that was going on. So then we started planning it. And part of our first board was Adrian. And then it was Billy's Black. And so we had Adrian, we had John Riddick as part of the original board as well. Eventually, John Martin Green was part of the board. So, and then with Richard, he was helping us promote things. And we worked on a project called Many Faces, Many Dreams, which was a small business administration project for entrepreneurship. But back to the story. So once we basically got this group together, we planned an event and it was a block party. Lawrence's partner was a member of the Block Association, and they just happened to have a block party permit for the last Saturday of the last full weekend in June in 2010.
Wow.
And we had this block party. We had about 20 vendors that we managed to get. Then Senator Perkins came and gave some awards to Sage Harlem members. And we also had some performers that were curated by Rob DeAnthony. And so we had a little event, but we just kind of thought, hey, we're promoting this art exhibit. Come to find out, unbeknownst to us, we had a draw. We hit a niche in the community. Depending on which newspaper you read, the Post, the Times, or the what's the other one? Daily News. Had 2,000, 2,500, or 3,000 people show up. We really had no idea because we didn't think we needed to count. We thought we might get 50, 100 people, maybe people we knew coming by, people from the block and the surrounding area. So after that, we decided, hey, you know, we have something. Where do we want to go with this? So we didn't start off trying to just have a Pride event that would happen year after year, but that's what it ended up being. And here we are 17 years later. This is our 17th anniversary, and our theme is 17 Shades of Pride. And that's not the not so short elevator speech about how we got started.
Wow. NightWatchman, were you expecting that?
I didn't. We've heard some of it, but not all of it. But that's what we wanted to hear, and just get a sense of how did we get to where we are now. There's always an origin story. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Absolutely.
And so now we're here in 2026. How do you feel about the progress, and what's different about 2026 that 17 years ago wasn't even in your your consciousness about where we would be?
Well, it's amazing. Back then, I think we started planning maybe a month or two before the event. Now our event ends at the end of June. We
Mm.
have July off, and we're back to planning for the next year by the end of August, early September. The number of attendees, we've gone from, that 2,000 or so to 20,000 to 22,000 is somewhere thereabouts since 2022. And we have, at that point, we had about 20 different vendors that came out. Now we have over 150 vendors.
Mm.
Have major sponsors. Then I think we had, sponsorship from the groups that were involved. Crucial Arts was a sponsor. Billy's Black was a sponsor.
Mm.
Kai and I was a sponsor, and that's a catering company for another board member. So, we were very much in-house. Now we have a great sponsorship, and we definitely have more varied entertainment. This year we're featuring Jussie Smollett as our
Oh,
headliner
yes. Hmm.
and Hope Giselle as our host. And we have a whole gamut of other performers. You can check out our website at harlempride.org. Another thing that is different, we started off on a block, then we moved to Marcus Garvey Park,
Hmm.
we moved to Jackie Robinson Park.
Wow.
Then in 2017, we moved to 12th Avenue. And then in 2019, we expanded along 12th Avenue. And then in 2025, we expanded some more along 12th Avenue. And the truth is, we're pretty much growing out of 12th Avenue.
Wow.
So after this year, we're going to solicit ideas of where we can move, where else we can be for Harlem Pride, because we're going to need more space. So that's a challenge that's welcome. It's a little frustrating, but it's definitely welcome to have those type of growing pains. I think another thing is, I believe because our event is in June, we're also a spot for the elected officials to stop and say hello.
Oh,
We
yes.
have consistently had governors, mayors, state officials, statewide officials, citywide officials, and we're looking forward to hosting our newly elected officials this year. And we have quite a few confirmations and some high up. We're trying to rearrange schedules. So we appreciate that support as well. So another thing that I think is different is just that we have so many more people involved. We have to hire a whole set of crew on a seasonal basis just to help us get this off. We rely on about 75
Hmm.
volunteers each year, and we currently have a staff of 13, and then we have higher staff for the season. So we're moving, shaking, and growing, and it feels good, but sometimes all of that can be challenging as well. But it's a welcome challenge.
Beautiful, beautiful. And of course, Adrian, what are also, I guess, we noticed that we have Bob, the founders row here, right?
Mhm.
Sounds like it. Okay. So, Adrian, do tell me how it has evolved, as Carmen was saying, in terms of the early days of Harlem Pride.
Oh gosh, those early days, they were a challenging, a learning experience for all involved. Growing and not to mention that Harlem Pride has been around just as long as I've been around with the restaurant.
Mm.
So it's good to see that um, community is consistent and we're growing as we uh, get older and are still part of the relevance of the new Renaissance, if you
Mm.
will. We are part of the legacy, which hopefully we will be able to pass that on so that future generations will be the ones that literally pass it on and say, hey, we've carried the torch, keep it going.
Mhm.
But it has evolved, where, like Carmen said, it's growing. It's growing even to the outer streets of 12th Avenue, and like I'm with Carmen. I'm like, where are you gonna go next? It's getting quite huge. Yeah.
And that's a nice, good thing. I see that, John, you wanted to say something? Talk to us.
Yeah, to reflect on what they both said, here it started a very small event, on a street in Central Harlem, and how it's grown over the years. It's got like a global presence. I always say Harlem is a brand greater than Chanel. It has a global recognition, and I think this is one of those events that really reads globally. And we participated in the 50th anniversary of Stonewall. It was highly profiled in magazines and stuff that were global. Out There magazine, I would think it was called, did a whole profile on the event. I think people come from other communities to see it, so the whole sense of like welcome and a sort of broader audience being addressed from the Harlem community. I think those are things that are legacy, things that people look back and reflect on. And it's been well documented, I think, over those years. And so just being able to look at the parallel histories that are going on in America, and certain things still being viable, particularly in this current climate. So I think it has a lot to look back for with pride, literally, in terms of having worked on it and seeing it grow.
Beautiful. And I guess one of the things, John, because when we were talking about putting together a show that would look at, let's say, the culture back in the day, because especially I told you that me and my wife had gone down a rabbit hole in terms of our watch and appreciation of Pose, right? But having said that, that there's a lot that we don't know about what was happening in this community around that. Okay, so and anyone can jump in and say, but also I noticed that this latest iteration of Cats. Okay,
I think Paris is Burning.
Yes,
Some of the spaces that hosted different performance places and all that, like documenting those sorts of things. How do we map them in terms of a visitor coming and being able to engage in relatively contemporary senses of how things went from one period to the next. So we talk about the Pride event, but we can also be looking at other parallel activities and clubs and performances, whether it's at the Apollo or some of the other places, and how do we link those and find people who have photographed them, people who have written about them. And part of why we know about the Renaissance is like it was covered on a lot of fronts. Thinking about how we sort of archive the current time period is an interesting thing to think about.
Nice. Richard, you have any thoughts on that, man?
Yeah, just to piggyback, I think that legacy is really important, preservation is important, secession is important, and if we don't tell the story, who will? And I think it's really key and important, and that's Carmen mentioned, we were right there in 2013 putting together Many Faces, One Dream, and really looking at entrepreneurs and ownership. If we don't own it, if we're not creating jobs for ourselves and waiting for other people to hire us, it becomes really difficult and important. So we know that arts and culture is big business. And so when I formed Harlem 2020, and then the pandemic happened, so I had to switch the name to Harlem CLX, which is Create, Learn, and Experience. The idea really was for us to be able to create these, spaces and businesses for ourselves, to be able to learn about that, and then create whatever that experience happens to be. And so, I know entrepreneurship isn't for everyone, but I do think it's really key and important for us to be able to own it, to own the narrative, to be able to tell the stories. Content is king at this point in time. The creative economy is real. So if we're not a part of it, we're going to be left behind. And so I'm always trying to inspire people to be able to say, if Uncle Richard could do it, I can do it too. And I think it's really key and important. That's where the Harlem Fine Art Show came into play. That's where NYC by Design comes into play. Design connects us all. It's a citywide initiative. And I just think, again, it's really, kind of key and important for us.
Beautiful. John Martin, any comments? Oh, you're on mute.
Okay, you're unmuted. Go ahead.
Uh-oh, something happened.
Let's see.
You see.
I don't. Let's see.
Okay.
It looks like he's unmuted.
Okay, we're gonna. John Martin say something. Nope, he still sounds like he's muted here. So, okay, we're gonna come back to you. All right, all right. And you know what, John Martin, you may have to go out, come back in, but we got you. We got you. Okay, let's see. And we're gonna bring back Adrian. There she is. Okay, okay.
Sorry about that.
No worries at all. And Night Watchman, what do we say? This is live and in effect. This one of the
Exactly.
that you have. Absolutely.
And authentic. It was authentic and truthful. No AI here.
Exactly. So Night Watchman, it's almost that time. I mean, what do you think? You want to get an early start on this?
Absolutely, because we have a crowded room here today, so we got to give everyone a chance to
Here it goes.
in the lightning round. So we're gonna go around to each of you, and if you could give us some final closing comments. And
That's right. This is what we call lightning round. Okay, so who you want to start off with, Night Watchman? Talk to you.
Let's start off with Adrian.
All right, here you go, Adrian. You got it. So,
All right.
any special things that we can look for there at the Nephew? So upcoming events, whatever. You got it. You got the floor. Go ahead.
I got the floor. Okay. So yeah, it is wonderful that we are celebrating, or I'm celebrating 20 years in business.
Woo!
So
Woo! Yes.
thank you. So we're having a gala on the 23rd, which will be headed for entertainment by Rakeem Walker Project.
Oh yeah.
We will also be doing a reunion karaoke with Patrick Riley.
Oh yeah, Patrick.
All-Star
Absolutely.
Karaoke, which ran at the restaurant for many years.
Beautiful.
So he's coming back to do that for the 25th of June. And yeah, we have a host of other Pride events from now throughout the month in celebration of 20 years.
Excellent. So Adrian, I don't have a computer, but I want to get in touch with you. So how can I get in touch with you? Say your email address and or number slowly.
Okay, so the email address is Adrian, ADRIANE, at the-nephew.com.
Excellent. And telephone number?
The number to the restaurant is 212-280-2248.
Beautiful. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Next up, who we got, Night Watchman?
How about Richard?
Oh, Richard Pelzer? Yes. Good, Richard.
Yeah. Well, first I want to say thank you very much for the opportunity. It's absolutely an honor to be on the panel with these amazing folks and people. So I wanted to be able to acknowledge them and say thank you. I'm really excited to say that I'm the managing partner and general manager of the Harlem Fine Art Show. We're going to be out in the Hamptons this summer. We would love for everybody to come out. So July 17th, 18th, and 19th, go to hfas.org to purchase tickets. The general admission is only $25.
Wow.
We do actually have a bus that's leaving from Harlem. So if you want to go out for the day, we're going to be leaving right on Saturday and right in front of the Renaissance Hotel, leaving at 7 a.m. And then leaving the Hamptons at 5 o'clock. So if you would like to join, that would be really great. The bus ride is $150 round trip, and that includes your entry fee as well. There's also food out there. And then the last thing I would also say is I am on the steering committee of NYC by Design and represent Harlem. And we actually have a website called Harlem Design District. And this summer is the first time that we actually are doing a 5-week intensive for high school students that are interested in design, architecture, landscape.
Wow.
It's going to be hosted with our community partner, the Caribbean cultural arts.
Oh yes, Melody Capote, absolutely.
Yeah. She's going to be hosting us for those 5 weeks with our 25 students. That we still have room. So if you have high school students that are interested in design or architecture, that would be really great. And I would like to invite everybody out to our graduation on Monday, August the 10th, that you would be able to see what the students actually learn for the 5 weeks, and that will be at the Dwyer Center at 6:30, and I'll make sure that everybody gets the information.
Beautiful. And Mr. Pelzer, how can someone get in touch with you?
They can actually go to harlemclx.com. So harlemclx.com. And my email address is richard@harlem2020.nyc.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for that, man. And Carmen, what's happening this summer? Tell us.
Oh my goodness. So we're celebrating 17 years of Harlem Pride. 17 Shades of Pride is our theme again. And we are out on 12th Avenue, June 27th from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. You can find us at harlempride.org, and you can find us at Instagram at Harlem Pride NYC and on Facebook at Harlem Pride. Check us out. We have a whole lineup. We have 8 food trucks this year.
Woo!
Food than we've ever had. Usually we only have 4 or 5. We have over 151 vendors, I believe it is. We have about 20 sponsors. Come check us out. Get some swag. Get some medical testing. We have that as well. You can come out and get some medical services, food, fun, entertainment, family, joy, love. Come check us out Saturday, June 27th from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. 12th Avenue. And I say 12th Avenue because we're along the whole route. As long as you get to West Harlem and get to 12th Avenue, you'll find Harlem Pride.
Excellent, excellent. And you see that NightWatchman, harlempride.org, baby. Okay, got you. So, of course, John T. Tiberius Riddick, tell us. Uh-oh, you're on mute.
I just want to encourage the broader audience of listeners and in the community to be really supportive of the month's events. We're just into the month of June. I am involved with a group called Harlem One Stop. That calendars all the uptown events and it really tries to cover everybody's activities. So I really encourage people to go to that site, Harlem, the word One Stop, and see the calendar of both restaurants, events, performances, and stuff for the month of June.
Beautiful. And if I want to reach out to you, John Riddick, how can I do that?
Now, I'm an OG. I'm not out there as much as everybody else. So I can give people my email address if they want to contact me. And so it would be jtr2134@columbia.edu.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you for that. John Martin Green. Oh, where are you, brother? There you are. Okay. So tell us, what's going on this summer, man? Tell us.
Immediately this month, I will enjoy the privilege of engaging in a dialogue with William Bryant Miles at the Apollo stages at the Renaissance on Thursday, June 25th.
Okay.
I believe at 6:30 in the evening. Called a dialogue called A Visible Life.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. And my theater company, Blackberry Productions, premiering a documentary called COP, COPP, which is an acronym for Communities Organizing for Partnership and Peace, which involves a community engagement and education strategy that we have been conducting between Black and Brown youth and police for the past 5 years.
Excellent.
Wherein we've been doing workshops using theater and some social science modalities to arm our young people with leadership and communication skills to ensure their constructive engagement with police and to, if you will, support the police's recognition that as they police our communities, they become members of the community who are duty bound to recognize us and our young people as fellow community members rather than as peers. And it's been going wonderfully. We've worked with upwards of 200 officers and young people. And we've got a documentary that we're going to be premiering at the Landfest Auditorium on Monday, June 29th at 6:30 p.m. And there will be refreshments and a panel discussion. And
Excellent.
should be a thing in the universe.
So you a busy dude. I see this. Very, very nice. Yes. And John, if I want to get in touch with you, how do I do that?
The GatekeepersCollective.com or JMG at thegatekeeperscollective.com. And our number is 212-694-1607.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for that. Night Watchman, I believe that you can actually take us home.
All right. So you've been listening to Soul Lounge Primetime on WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. You can hear us every Tuesday at 5 o'clock on the radio. And you can also find us live streaming on YouTube and Facebook on Tuesday evenings at 8 o'clock. We want to thank our panel for sharing their insights and experiences with us today. And we hope that you join them with all the events and festivities. And they are invited back to the cookout, of course.
Oh, and especially maybe the nephew, because there is no raisins in the potato salad.
All right.
All right.
Y'all have been fantastic. And yes, as they say, same time next year.